evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Muckin and Grindin. Stanley Cup Finals are still four of the Tampa. I noticed a lot of news with the possibility of the Ottawa Senators going forward with a little technical difficulty there. The Wi-Fi dropped out for a second. Sorry about that. You have buyouts going to start happening left and right. Trades will start happening more and more. We'll start off with the Marc-Andre Fleury news. Not really much news as of right now. Just the fact that every story that has come out, except with the exception of one today, that he was coming back to Pittsburgh. Everybody says he's coming back to Pittsburgh. Everybody wants Marc-Andre Fleury back in Pittsburgh. Look, I'm a Marc-Andre Fleury fan. Have been since day one. It's great with my kids. I'm having a little technical difficulty, so we may end up having to cut short. I'm not. Won't work. The money won't work. And plus, the story that came out today, he is happy in Vegas. Not sure what's going on with the feed here. I'll try to see if I can fix a few things while we're doing this. Give me a second here. Do a little. I'm not sure what's going on. I apologize for the inconvenience that this is happening. It's a little annoying when the Wi-Fi keeps cutting in and out. But like I said, the Marc-Andre Fleury stuff, it's not going to happen. Just look, all you Homer fans, look, I apologize. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Financially, it's not going to work. The league minimum for veterans is still too high to even get him underneath the cap. Plus, with the signing coming up of Tristan Jarry, Matt Murray being moved, and the other problem is you have Casey DeSmith under contract, and you cannot bury him down in Wilkes-Barre again like you did this past season. You have to have him up, so that you already have too many goaltenders and not enough playing time. The other news was the trade of Patrick Hornquist, who is a fan favorite. I enjoyed his time here. Sometimes it's time to move on. I'm not as critical on this trade as 99% of the Pens fans and media are. Matheson, yeah, he did start out very well. That's why he got the 8-year contract. He fell out of love with the coach Quenneville and the coaching staff. He's 26 years old, still has decent speed. He's got a decent shot. Watched a couple videos of the playing that he has. Not exactly sure where all the hate's coming from with all the Pens fans thinking he's Jack Johnson 2.0. Last I saw that in this area, we watch Penguin games because that's what's on. I don't know how many people have the NHL package where they can watch the Florida Panther games, considering nobody goes to their games to begin with. but one of the throw-ins for this deal was Colton Sevier. He's 31-year-old right winger. He's a great penalty killer. He logged the most penalty killing minutes in the NHL, almost 179 minutes. He blocked 72 shots, which is huge because we don't have a lot of forwards that do that. Brian Rust no longer does that. It just makes sense. You need penalty killers. I mean, the penalty killing last year wasn't great. And as Nico says here, we need a new young defensive D-man. Thought it was a smart move. It is a smart move. And the fact that it is a smart move is Patrick Hornquist will be 34 years old when this next season starts. He is one concussion away from being a vegetable and being out of the league. I know all the fans, he's a fan favorite. He scored, he hasn't been able to keep up anymore. He barely was able to play on the third line because they didn't want to break up the fourth line. So his minutes were limited. He couldn't even keep up then. I mean, granted, he's not one of those guys that can be the top guy on a line. He was playing with Patrick Marleau and Jared McCann. Jared McCann is a winger. He is not a center. Hopefully that experiment is done and over with. I would love to see Jared McCann back at wing where he actually was scoring goals and playing very well. And he could be in the same mold as a Brian Rust with the speed and being able to, chip a puck past the guy and then fly up the side. The other rumor out there is the possibility of the Penguins signing defenseman Chris Tanev. And that's right. You know the name, Brandon Tanev. His brother played for Vancouver. Chris Tanev is a hard-hitting, he's a good puck-moving defenseman. I would love to see that brother in a Penguin uniform. That would be huge. Then you have multiple guys who are expendable because as of right now, everything's up in the air. You don't know who's staying, who's going. It's possible Chris Letang could go. Marcus Pettersson, Juuso Riikola could go. Excuse me, Matheson could be turned around and traded again. It's just up in the air. You don't know. Justin Schultz is not coming back. They've already told him he won't be back. And you have Pierre-Olivier Joseph in the minors. You have a plethora of young defensemen that are coming. But getting Chris Tanev is one of those guys that would hit people. That's one of the things that the Penguins defense has lacked is a physical defenseman. He's smart with the puck. Even Matheson, he played on a terrible team the last 5 years. The last 3 years overall, he was a -1, a -24, which Florida had no goaltending before Bob got there. And he was a -1 last year. For defensemen, the plus-minus is huge. That is one of your benchmarks for knowing if a defenseman's good or not. I mean, being a -1 on a terrible Florida Panthers team, I'm okay with it. Let's just see what happens. Let's wait till training camp comes. If he makes training camp, and he is a possibility, like I said, he could get flipped and get traded to somebody else. There's always that possibility. The movement, there may be more movement by GMJR by the end of this weekend. There's been grumblings that a lot of teams have been asking about Brian Dumoulin. I hate to break the news to everybody and GMJR. Brian Dumoulin's, that's no bueno. There's no go. He doesn't go anywhere. He goes absolutely nowhere. He is your best defenseman, period. I don't want to hear Chris Letang. No, Chris Letang is trash. His time is over. I've been a fan of getting rid of him over the past 5 years. I'm tired of him chirping every time something doesn't go his way, tired of him not being able to put a puck on net. I'm just tired of everything he does. The only thing he has anymore is speed still. That's it. Other than that, the guy's trash. I don't care what anybody says. I that's my opinion, and there is no other opinion because he just – there's too many mistakes, too many penalties. I don't care how many points he puts up. 90% of them are assists. Yeah, I can get a bunch of apples out on the ice too. The defense needs to get younger, needs to get smarter. You need to have shot blocking, puck moving defensemen who are going to play the system that you want to play. And to be honest with you, I don't think Chris Letang does that. They keep him around because Sid probably likes to have him around, just like Gino. We're getting to a point now where we need to possibly part ways with Chris Letang. You have to. I mean, the cap hit alone, it's $7 million. That's too much for one defenseman. I'm sorry, that's too much. I mean, granted that the Matheson deal is a little over $4 million. I'm not happy about that either, but he's, I think, 6-7 years younger. That's okay with me. I'm okay with that. And he's more of a physical stay-at-home defenseman, which I'm okay with also. I would rather have 6 Brian Dumoulin's out there, a guy who can't put the puck, who gets the puck down and deep into the zone and plays stay-at-home D. I'd love to have 6 Brian Dumoulin's out on the ice. I wouldn't care if John Carlson was available. Nope, I'll take 6 Brian Dumoulin's because Dumoulin is by far, I think, probably one of the top 5 defensemen in the league. Not just and I don't care about the points or how many, he puts up great numbers. Yep, that's what the Norris Trophy's become. A point, who's the point getter. It's not, the Norris Trophy should be the best defenseman, not offensive defenseman. There's more guys out there that play steady, solid defense that don't get the credit that they deserve, and Brian Dumoulin is a number 1 defensive defenseman. The Pens also need to get themselves the third line center. Since Nick Bonino has been gone, it's been basically a shit show to fill that hole. It's not an easy spot. I mean, because if you get yourself a decent center, is he really going to want to play behind Sid and Gino? Is he going to want to take that, third role? It's a defensive centerman role. I heard grumblings that there was a lot of people out there that said that they should have got Eric Stahl. No. Eric Stahl's better days are behind him. He is still a decent player, but he cannot play that third line role like his brother used to, who's actually a lot younger. They just need to, hopefully find that guy, in the system or, via free agency. I mean, the Derek Brassard thing didn't go well. It was one of the mistakes that GMJR made, and he rectified it. Well, still waiting for him to rectify this Jack Johnson deal. A lot of people are saying, they should buy him out. You can't buy out a guy that makes as much as he is because it still hurts under the cap, and being as close to the cap as we are for the Pens, it hurts. You would have to move. You're going to have to possibly, bury him in the minor leagues. I mean, that's the only thing you can do. You can't do it with Casey DeSmith because you already did it. You can do it this year with Jack Johnson, and hopefully he just decides maybe to retire. If he retires, that you get some leniency against the cap for it, but you still pay his contract, which really does suck. But moving forward, I still think the Pens are in a good place. Everybody says that window's closing. Everybody thinks that Gino and Sid are, it's almost like the way you hear it is like they're in their 40s. 34 and 33 is still, you got guys that are still playing at 40, 41, 42 years old, still playing at a decent clip. Justin Williams is still playing good. Patrick Marleau, if he would have got more playing time, I think he would have been okay. It was a crappy time where he came in, played 6 games, COVID hits, shut down, and then he comes back and plays a couple games. It's not easy for anybody, but I just don't think that third line with him, McCann, and Hornquist was very well thought up. I would have possibly moved a couple other guys around. Like Zach Aston Reese, for me, is one of the guys who can go pound salt. This kid was up for a Hobie Baker Award, and actually really hasn't shown me anything since he's been here. He had a couple flashes in the first couple games he was here, but now it's time to go. See you, bye. Dominic Simone, I got nothing. Because he gives you nothing. In IIHL championships, he played lights out. He was one of the top scoring forwards in the tournament 3 years ago. And once he came to back to the Pens, couldn't even find the net. It's like if he scored, you were like, hey, it's Christmas Day. Look at that present we just got. I'm at a loss anymore because everybody is out to get GMJR. They think every move he makes is a terrible move. I'm perfectly fine with this trade. I am perfectly fine with it. A lot of people forget that Hornquist over the past 3 seasons has missed a ton of games. He's missed at least 15 games a season. That hurts. Matheson and Sevier both have been healthy, and they've both played very well, respectively. Sevier, I'm assuming, is probably going to fit in on that third line, possibly if they move the Bluger, Tanev, Aston Reese. Maybe it's Bluger, Tanev, and Sevier. Maybe they move that line to the third line, and then, Lafferty and Aston Reese and somebody else with the fourth line. Or you could have yourself a nice third line. And, Samuel Poulin's at the point where, and I shared this story the other day, his teammate that he's been playing with lately said if this kid goes to the minor leagues, it's not going to be for long. If he goes to the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Pens, it's going to be for 5 games, and that he said that will be it. This kid is the real deal. He is I remember at prospect camp 2 years ago watching this kid play against other guys. He was a man amongst boys. Him and Nathan Legare both were just unbelievable at watching these guys play. And hopefully Emil Larmi, the goalie that they picked up from Finland, hopefully this kid turns out because he was stellar. I mean, he was amazing. Watching him play and wheeling and then getting bumped up to the, Wilkes-Barre Scranton Pens, he looked pretty good. I mean, he's got a lot of promise. He does have a future. Alex Dorio, he's been in the system since I think he was 16. And he's growing. He's a good defense, good puck moving goaltender that, he plays the puck halfway decent. Emil Larmi plays the puck very well. When he goes down into the butterfly, his skates are post to post. And there's no bottom, but these goalies need to start looking ahead at, everybody likes to shoot upstairs. Maybe it's time to go back to the old Marty Brodeur style of stand-up goaltending. Instead of going down for every shot. Even when a guy's winding up for a shot, these goalies are going down and everybody's shooting upstairs. Maybe it's time for these guys to start playing old school and playing upstairs. Go ahead and be a stand-up goaltender instead. I can't wait to see what happens here after the Cup Finals. There's going to be a flurry of things going on. There's going to be a lot more movement. There's going to be trades, buyouts. It's going to be fun to see. It's going to be compressed, so it's going to be a frenzy because of it being compressed with the NHL draft on, I think it's the 5th and 6th or 6th and 7th. We'll see what happens. We're going to jump off here, could cut this short because the Game 4 of Tampa Bay and Dallas is coming on. We'll see if Dallas and Anton Hudobin, who got pulled at the end of the second period the other night, let's see if he comes out and steals a game. I'm pretty sure he could. He's a decent goaltender. I give him a lot of credit. Ben Bishop supposedly is ready to go. But we'll see. Now, I know there is definitely no Steven Stamkos tonight. He had only played 2 minutes and 47 seconds the other night. Granted, he did score a goal in his second shift. Must have had a setback with the abdominal core surgery that he had. But they said he's unfit to play tonight. We'll see what happens for tomorrow's Game 5. But enjoy the game tonight. We'll see you back here after the game for a little recap of tonight's game. And I'll see you guys later.